What is going on, you guys? Today I have another super quick episode for you. So, we're going to be reviewing a YouTube channel called The Art of Charm, where they're interviewing Dr. Robert Glover, and the title here is Avoid These Three Nice Guy Behaviors. Let's get into it.
One of the other areas that we see a lot of nice people pleasers struggling with is generosity. And hey, I bought her 4 dinners. I took her out around the town. I mean, we had a client who was like, the women in New York must be foodies because I'm taking them to Michelin star restaurants on the first date, second date. I've gone on 6 dates. And she says on the 7th date, I'm actually not that interested in you. I'm seeing other people.
Yeah.
And he was shocked.
But I sure am eating well. Yeah.
Right. But I'm enjoying all the spots.
Let's dive into that because this tees up well something in the book that I call Covert Contracts. And most people that read the book come away and say that was like the most informative piece because it really puts a spotlight on the kind of behavior that you're talking about. And this is a core staple of nice guy syndrome. And covert contract just means covert means is hidden. It's not in the open. It's indirect. It's even unconscious. Oftentimes, nice guys are not aware of their own covert contract. And I promise you, the other people on the other end of the contract have no fucking clue that it exists. So basically, nice guys have 3 primary covert contracts. And for every nice guy, one might be more prominent than the other. But most have these 3. And the first one is, if I'm a good guy, I will be liked and loved. And add to that for us men and the women I want to have sex with will want to have sex with me if I'm that good guy. Now, what does that even mean if I'm a good guy? But we're the scorekeeper of that. Well, if I'm generous, if I don't argue, if I'm not, if I don't say hurtful things, if I never ask for what I want.
Did you hear that? If I never ask for what I want, if I don't argue. And again, it's not like you have to get into a fight with him, but like you don't have to agree with him on everything. You need to be able to lay boundaries with women, especially early on too. Right, so like he's talking about someone who's like a nice guy versus someone who's kind and actually like isn't a doormat or a pushover. They stand up for themselves. And I know, like, I think most guys have gone through a point in time where maybe they were a little bit too nice, especially when it comes to dating. So these lessons are definitely important ones to learn.
That'll make me a good guy. If I'm different from my father, if I'm different than those, that'll make me a good guy, and then everybody will like me and love me. Now, all of these covert contracts have deep.
And by the way, you don't want everyone to like you and love you because you're probably doing something wrong then. Like, it's too much, like, you don't want to rock the boat, too much, basically people pleasing, because you're like, oh, I want everybody to like me. But, like, if you're really truly being yourself, I mean, you're not being like an asshole, right? But, like, if you're being yourself, honestly, not everyone's going to like you anyways. And it doesn't really matter. Because what you need to learn, if you haven't already, is to stop caring what everybody thinks. Care about people, but not what they think, right? That is like some of the secret sauce that will get you very far once you're able to get into the swing of that.
Flaws to them. Number 1, nobody's all good, right? And number 2, nobody likes everybody. I mean, I don't like everybody, no matter how good of people. I don't like everybody. So there's no way that you're going to be universally liked.
And by the way, some people are just being nice to get what they want. So that's why I say there's a difference between being a nice guy and being a kind and confident person who isn't a pushover. Because nice guy sometimes is like, it could be seen as like manipulative, like to like, oh, like I'm being nice in exchange, like I want to get this thing from somebody, right?
There is no way, in spite of what men tend to read on the internet, there is no way that every woman you want to have sex with is going to want to have sex with you. There is no magic bullet. And nice guy seduction is actually the worst possible way to try to get that to happen. So, but yes, what happens is this giving to get, the strings attached kind of stuff, the if-then. If I'm a good guy, then I'll be liked and loved. Is one of the things that makes nice guys so dishonest and so untrustworthy is because there's strings attached. This is actually manipulation if you think about it. Okay, then the second covert contract, talk about manipulation, is if I meet other people's needs without them having to ask. So in other words, I read their mind, I give to them what I think they might want to receive. If I meet other people's needs without them having to ask, then they will read my mind and give me what I need without me having to ask.
By the way, if you're watching this and you've done this before or you know someone who's done this, it's ridiculous, right? And you can have an ego about it all you want, but just learn to communicate, right? I know we all have moments in our lives where maybe we struggle to communicate something, but if you communicate, you shouldn't be, it's like a little kid thing, right? Like, oh, they should know what I want. They've known me for months. They've known me for years. Like, even if it's like your partner or something, right? Like you hear this stuff all the time, like someone thinking like, oh, they should know that I'm upset, right? But it's like, no. We're both adults here, right? So why don't you just communicate properly in a healthy manner, stay calm, stay chill, and you can probably work through a solution or decide to, exit the situation, whatever works best. But again, like, instead of expecting someone to read your mind, why not just learn to communicate in a healthy way?
Now, again, deep flaws in this, because number one, giving to other people so they'll like us and give back is codependency, right? It is manipulative. And the other people don't know that the contract exists and that they're supposed to be reading our mind too and giving back. Now, some other real deep flaws in terms of this covert contract for nice guys is often they pick.
And by the way, the like expecting someone to read your mind thing is just taking like all accountability out of it. Like, oh, it's their fault because they couldn't figure out what I wanted, right? They couldn't figure out what I was thinking. They've known me for so long. Why didn't they just know? Instead of taking accountability and using your words, right?
People who not only do they not know the covert contract exists, they're often not very equipped to give much back. If you go out and pick a fixer-upper of a woman, she's depressed, or, she just got fired from her job because she doesn't get along with anybody, or she has money problems, or, she's, whatever her issues are. Oh, I can fix that. I'll do this. I can help make her car payment. I'll listen to her talk about her problems. I'll be there for her. I'll do this. And usually what we're picking is people that are not highly functional in themselves, and we think if we get them fixed up, we'll have this diamond in the rough, and then they'll give back to me. But the truth is, they don't have much to give back because they're not even good at functioning at least a medium or high level themselves. Now, it gets even worse.
And you want to be careful being like the superhero, like, let me save everybody. It's cool to help people, right? But like being the people pleaser, or like always being, exactly what I'm talking about when I say this. There's like the nice guy who's like the shoulder to cry on. He's got like this superhero complex, like, oh, she's eventually going to see how good of a guy I am, right? She's crying to me about this other guy, right? And he's a Chad, he's a jerk, right? But she's going to like me, right? And it's like, and even outside of that, right? Like some people have this like savior complex, like they have to like help fix everybody else's problems. But like, of course, if you want to be like kind sometimes, you can give your energy to people and help them, right? But you got to be careful, right? Like you also, it's not selfish if you're taking care of yourself, right? Like if you need to watch your own energy, help who you can, but likely you're not going to be able to help everybody, right? That's actually one of the realities of just being like, even, let's say you were a hero, right? Like that's one of the realities of being a hero. Oftentimes is like, you really can't save everybody. So, that's a little bit of a tangent, but I totally agree with what he's saying here.
Remember I said that nice guys hide things? Well, as I said, what we hide is our needs and our wants, because most nice guys believe we are bad for having needs and wants. That people are going to respond negatively to our needs and wants, or that everybody else's needs and wants are more important than my own, which that actually makes us really terrible receivers. And this is maybe one of the biggest pieces I've had to work on in my nice guy work. I think being honest was probably number one. But learning to give to myself, to let other people give to me, to practice receiving, to surround myself with people who want to give to me and who are capable, and me being clear and asking for what I want, not being subtly manipulative so that they'll guess what I want or need to give it to me. I've learned to ask for what I want. Hey, can you do this? And just, if they can, great. If they can't, find other resources for whatever that is. So covert contract number 2 really, really spins up that resentment in nice guys. And guys will say, well, how do you know is this just being nice and generous and kind, or is it a covert contract? Which is a really good question, because it does take some time and some consciousness to kind of, part that apart. But one of the best way to tell that if it's a covert contract is that you start feeling resentful, unappreciated, giving more than you get, done to. Those are signs that probably you have covert contracts. Okay, then the third one is if I do everything right, then I will have a smooth, problem-free life. Now, again, nobody does everything right. I mean, every great religious book basically says we're all sinners, we're all flawed, we're all imperfect. None of us, are good enough. And so we're not going to do everything right. And again, we're the scorekeeper of that. I did that right. I did that right. I got a big scoreboard in my living room. I did that right. I did that right. And so I should have a smooth, problem-free life. And this is a covert contract we tend to make with God, right? With the universe. Look, God, I'm a good guy. How come I don't have a girlfriend? How come I have a crappy job? How come I drive a crappy car? How come, this stuff keeps happening to me? And I keep getting with people that treat me badly. Life should be good. I'm doing everything right. Well, life is not smooth and problem-free. I mean, just look at COVID-19, right? Life is not smooth and problem-free. And so if we have this almost Peter Pan-ish infantile belief, I'll do everything right, and then everything will be smooth. It's a very immature way of living life, because the truth is the challenges and difficulties in life are our best learning tool. And if we can say, great, I'm so great, I'm glad this is happening. I get to grow, I get to evolve, I get to be matured, I get to be refined by this struggle, rather than saying, I don't want struggle, I want everything smooth. And, I don't know if you guys, but I've never found a relationship with a woman to be smooth. It just never has worked that way for me, as much as I've wanted them to be that way. And I've never found life in general to be smooth. Now, life can be damn good, but smooth is a completely different thing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. There's going to be challenges anyways, like in life, in your relationships, right? I mean, you're always, that's even a better sign, right? Is like not doing the people pleaser thing. Like, it's likely that you're going to disagree with your friends or your partner or your supervisor at work, right? Like, so like, don't run from that. Don't be a pushover or a doormat. Like you run from challenges or disagreements, right? That's natural, right? And you don't have to have like this big blowout fight. You could just have a friendly disagreement or a discussion about it and be open-minded, see if maybe one way or the other makes more sense. But, I totally agree with what he's saying, right? It's not like, because I'm such a good guy, like everything's gonna be perfect always, right? And also, to bring it back, a funny point at the beginning of what he was saying, the host, right, of Art of Charm was saying that there's a lot of guys who go on like a bunch of first dates, or like the first few dates with girls. The worst is the first date, when they take a girl out to like Michelin star restaurants or really fancy places when they don't even know her. Right? And I know there's a certain type of person that's like, oh, bro, it's okay, or like a girl saying like, well, if he's not taking me to sushi, right, like, or taking me to this really fancy restaurant, then I'm not going out. Well, honestly, man, if you're between you and me, like, that's not your girl. Because here's the thing: if she's really attracted to you, even if it's first date, right? If she's really interested in getting to know you, it doesn't matter what you do. Right? You could literally have a free date. The beach, the pool, the park, walk around downtown somewhere, the gym. Like there's a bunch of free things that you can do, by the way, right? Or you could do something, sort of inexpensive, like coffee and a walk, drinks and a walk, ice cream, boba, you name it, right? And what I'm saying is, you also need to keep the mind, like, not being worried about if she likes you, right? If the date's going well, you need to be thinking, okay, like she seems cool, or she seems attractive. Now let's see if she's cool. Let's see if there's a good vibe or a good connection with us. Because that's a mistake a lot of guys make, is they're like, oh, I got to make this one work. I got to keep this one. Like, maybe this is going to be my next girlfriend, but you're putting too much pressure on it, right? So what you want to do is, especially if you're going out on, multiple first dates, to get to know who's a good fit for you, right? She's attractive, but is she cool, right? Let's see. So no big deal, and you can take the pressure off, right? Be a little bit more relaxed. And also, I don't know if you've heard the term booty call, right? It's like when someone's like you up, or you do like the Netflix and chill thing, like someone texts you late, right? So it's like really just like short-term casual relationships most of the time that happens. Like, you get that text late night or call from someone, maybe you've been with them before. There's a funny play on that called a foodie call, right? And that's basically what a lot of those nice guys are getting played into, is like, either they're leading with money, so the girl didn't convince him of that, he's just leading with money, like, oh, let me take this girl, I have no idea who she is, and she hasn't even earned this, to a Michelin star restaurant. That makes sense, right? No. You should take her to somewhere chill, like coffee or drinks, where you both can leave if there's not a good connection, right? And you're not so worried about whether she likes you or not. Because honestly, there's plenty of other women in the world, and you'll probably find someone who's a better fit for you, if it doesn't work out. So again, low pressure, low cost, especially if you're going on a bunch of first dates. And the biggest red flag of that is if you try to set up a date with her and she says, oh, I'm not really like a coffee or drinks kind of girl. Like, let's do sushi instead. Or let's do dinner instead. And then she tries to send you like a link to a place or something. That's what a foodie call is, right? So like she's trying to get like all these meals out of you rather than actually get to know you. I think you probably understand what I'm saying now, right? Is if she actually was genuinely attracted to you or genuinely interested and a good person, right? She wouldn't be like, oh, actually, let's go here instead, right? She'll follow your lead and she'll be really excited about it. So guys, I love that the stuff that they went over in this episode. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. You got this, bro.